Hey there, my name is Duan Pineda, and today I'm going to talk about Kim's game. Right. To following a process in this presentation, we're going to have a plan. So the first part is what's Kim's game, then how to play it, and after that, tips to succeed in the game. Finally, an example of Kim's game. So let's start. Basically, it's a game in which a person has to remember objects, situations, things, or pictures and their characteristics in order to test his or her memory. It's a game for all ages. So, according to that, children or an adult can play it. Well, how to play Teams game? Well, there are different ways to play it, but I'm going to propose you one of them. Well, you can get a bot such as a shoebot or a tray, right? And fill it with different items, around a dozen or the number of things that you want to put in it. So you can find different objects in your house or maybe in the classroom. For example, an eraser, a pen, battery, a key, something like that. Then what you have to do is observe. You can take 2 minutes and you are going to observe how many items you can find in it and what are the characteristics of those objects. Or it can be also a picture, right? You have to observe carefully the details that are in it. Well, in the third part, what you have to do is something easy. Easy if you have a good memory, but that's the game. You have to write in a piece of paper or whatever you want. You can write the object that you remember. So uh, you can say, well, in the pots, there were a pen, and that pen, for example, have some characteristics that are the following ones. Blah 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 blah, blah, something like that. Then the second object was uh, a key. That key uh, had a red color, for example. And those details are going to be important because we are going to test our memory or the memory of our students. And that's basically how we can play it. Well, here we have some tips to succeed the game. And the first part, we have a general idea that is that you don't start with too many articles. It's an advice. Start with two, three, four, five, the number of objects that you consider that are appropriate to your memory or well to your level in the game. Then allow 2 or 3 minutes for observation. Observation is important. You have to take into account each detail. Then the first job that you have is to remember what the articles are. So count the articles. You can have a reference and you can say, Well, there were five objects. So the first one is this, and this. Then take a particular note of the small articles. It can be a picture too, right? The big ones are easy to remember, but let's pay attention, sorry, to small ones. Finally, fix the articles in your mind in associate groups. If you remember, there's a theory in which you put objects together in order to remember them easily. So that's a way to succeed in this game. Well, now we are going to see an example in a real life. So let's go.
No. So, to apply this activity, I asked for help to Lorena, and before that, also I looked for a box, and then I put in it some objects, for example, a nail polish, a ring, a rich watch, a nail clipper, a flashlight, an eraser, and a small lock or padlock, and a spring, and finally a nail file. So I gave her before the instructions to play this game. So she's going to observe those objects carefully during 1 or 2 minutes. So let's go there then. So after she observed those objects, I'm going to cover them to hide them, and she's going to use for example, a book, a small book, to write the the objects that she remembers. So let's go. Write them. Now let's check what Lorena found. Right? So can you tell me the objects that you remember, please?
A spring,
Right.
life,
Mm-hmm.
nail point, um, flashlight,
Flashlight.
flashlight, um,
What else?
mm, 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 mm. That's what I remember.
Okay, thank you, Lorena. So the other objects are a ring, a rich watch, a nail clipper, a lock or a padlock, a nail file, and finally an eraser. You remember just three objects. So let's practice more for the next time.